Hey lovelies, right, welcome to this video, which is the let's paint the Airfix 176 scale Cromwell tank. As you can see, I'm spraying with my airbrush. Now the tank, I primed it with Death Guard Green from the Citadel spray paint range. And what I'm doing now is I'm coming in with the airbrush to coat it in Humbrol 159, which is one of the paints that was included with the kit. And you can see me this is the first coat that I'm putting on. I will go on and do 2 coats for this. But it's a nice coloured green. It's a nice kind of bronzy green, I think, for the tank. And yeah, once it's gone down, I'm actually really pleased with the coverage. I used a 50-50 mix of the Humbrol 159 and then Tamiya acrylic thinner. And this has been applied to both the tank and the turret. You can see me just doing the turret now, and yeah, then once that's done and dry, I put on a second coat, and then we move on to painting road wheels. Right then lovelies, so we have sprayed our Cromwell. I'm really pleased with the way that this has turned out. It's really nice. It was 2 coats in all. So the next stage is doing the road wheels on the tank and then any other black things. So black for the Beezer machine guns, and also I will the vision periscopes, I will put a black dot basically on each of the periscopes to act as the darker recesses for the periscope, you know, as it's in the vehicle. I know that in the past things like Tamiya kits have kind of suggested to paint vision ports as a blue, but I think that on this scale black would be much better. So we got these road wheels, and this is going to get messy, because not only are you going to do the road wheel on the front here, but you need to just reach in and do the road wheel behind it. Now I've already done this because I've built 2 of these. I've already done it on, this was my practice vehicle. I've already done it on this one, and yeah, it gets messy and you do need a lot of cleanup afterwards. So road wheels, machine guns, and the little vision blocks, which are just there basically, all get a touch of black paint. So I'm going to go away and do that. It's probably going to take me ages because it did last time, and we'll come back when it's all done and we will put the gunmetal on the tracks. Cool, right, here we go. Tracks. So I'm kind of hoping I've revived a bit of a thick old gunmetal silver, and literally I am going to use gunmetal as per the rear of the box, but then once everything is dry I will come in and use Nuln oil from Citadel, Games Workshop paint, or wash I should say, to give everything the relevant wash. So all the green, all the silver, so the tracks will get dulled down. I will then obviously, once it's dry, go over the tank using the base colour, the base green again, which is what, 159? Right, okay, so we have our primary colours down. So we have the 159 green down, and the 33 black, and the 53 gunmetal for the tracks. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in and give it a liberal coat of Citadel's non-oil shade. This is quite a nice black shade. Make sure you give it a decent shake, and if needs be, stir, to ensure that once it's going, as it goes down, it's not going to dry too glossy. And I'm literally just going to, especially this part here, I'm going to probably give this a couple of coats of black wash. The bit between the upper hull deck and the tracks. But if you find that you've got too much wash pooling anywhere, just soak it up and redistribute it. And yeah, I'm going to go around, I'm going to do the whole tank, do the turret as well, and come back when that's all dry, and we'll do the next bit. Okay, lovelies, so we've put the wash on, and you can see it's darkened down the tank quite considerably. Now, I have built and weathered the second one that I built. Sorry, painted and weathered the second one that I built. And this is what that looks like, and this is what we're replicating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the base colour, which is 159. Now I'm using a fresh pot because the one that I've been using so far actually has some enamel, not enamel thinner, some acrylic thinner in it. And I'm using a Citadel small dry brush. So it's, you can see it's got a chisel shaped brush tip. So this is my dry brush palette. And what I'm doing is I'm just basically going to start with the wheels. And this is why I like this particular small dry brush, because it's going to allow me to get into smaller places. Now I'm not going to do anything at the back of the wheels, you know, on the hull behind the wheels or underneath or above the track there, but I am just going to use it to just basically dry brush the tank. But also to just basically put the colour back onto the vehicle, rather than over painting and leaving colours in recesses. The dry brushing will pick out the raised areas a lot better, and I'll end up hopefully with a better transition between the light and the dark. So I'm going to continue with this and we'll come back to do the next step. Right, see you in a sec. I'm going to come in with a dark brown wash onto the tracks, just so that I can, they're showing, I think, the appropriate levels of grime. So yeah, this is Agrax Earthshade by Citadel, and I'm just going to pop this on the tracks to help grime up and dull down the silver sheen. And then we'll come in and do a bit of detail painting for the Pioneer tools and other little bits and pieces before we come in with a pale brown dusty wash to add a bit of dusty weathering, as these are supposedly Normandy in June 1944. The tanks that I'm painting here, the dusty conditions during the summer, it calls for a dusty wash to go on. Okay, so I have dry brushed the tank. This is what we've got at the moment. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to put the decals on. So what I intend to do is, where the decals are going to go, I'm just going to lay down some gloss varnish. And I'm using the Citadel's technical hard coat, it's called, gloss varnish. So on the Cromwell tank here, we have basically these areas are where the decals are going to go, and then just up by the bow machine gun here. So I'm going to let that dry. The reason I'm laying down a coat of varnish is so that when I come to put the decals on, they've got a nice smooth surface to adhere to, and it will help prevent any silvering on these parts. So I've got my second Cromwell that I'm doing at the same time. Right, so my gloss varnish is dry, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, the way I apply decals is I use microsolid microset, and I follow the instructions on those. So it says to wet your decals with water, which I do. I cut them out first, so I've done a couple here. So I cut them out. And what it says is apply some micro sol to the area that you're going to be applying the decal to. And I've marked this brush up so that I only use this brush for microsol and microset. So this brush does nothing else except those two products. Then, now depending on the size of the decal, I'll either just grab it off of the backing paper like that, and then place it in position. Just do a little bit of wiggly wobbly, and getting it where I want it to be. like that. And then there's another one which is going to go on the front here. Or if it's a particularly large decal, I will bring the carrier over and I will slide it on. But these small ones are actually okay. So they go into position. Now, what I tend to do is, using a cotton bud, is I will just lightly go over the area. I won't press it. If it's flat, I won't press it particularly hard because I don't want to upset. But I'll just take away the worst of the water and or the worst of the microsol, and then I'll let that dry. That just needs straightening out. And then I'll let that dry, and then I'll give it a quick brush with microset, let that dry, and then I will gloss over it. Now, I have done my other Cromwell, and I had some issues with this. So this is going to be interesting, trying to get the star onto the turret. I'm not feeling brave enough to do it on camera, so I'm going to do it off camera so that I can concentrate. But that's how I do my decals. So once that's dry, I'll come in and put a bit of microset over it, and then once it's dry again, I then gloss over it to seal it in. Once that's done, I then go on and do any weathering that needs to be done. Decals have gone down. I'm actually quite pleased with how that one finally turned out. The first one I did on my previous tank was a little bit skew with. I don't know if you can just tell the star is a little bit out of alignment on this one. But yeah, I was quite pleased with that. And then it's had a microsol. So microset has gone over the top. I've let that dry. It's nicely adhered to the vehicle. I've then just gone over it with a little bit more gloss varnish to seal all the decals in. And what I'm going to do now is, we have some Pioneer tools here. There's also a small fire extinguisher on each side. So what I'm going to do is, the Pioneer tools are going to be painted using 53 that comes with the set. There's also quite a long pry bar here. And what I'm going to do is, that's going to be painted black. I'm going to make sure that the clasps that hold these remain green. Okay, so black for the pry bar, which is here. Black for the pry bar, which is here. And then the gunmetal for the shovel head, and there's a pick head in there as well. Then the shovel handle and the pick helve will be done with a sandy coloured paint. I'll probably use Zandri Dust for that, if I can find it. So Zandri Dust for that. And then it'll be a scarlet red, so I'll be using Mephiston red for the fire extinguishers on this vehicle. So that's what I'm going to do. So we'll move on to giving it a wash once I have a wash with a sandy dirt colour, once I have done those basic things. Right, let's get on with it. Okay, so we have the Pioneer tools are all done and the fire extinguishers. That's as far as I'm going to take the detail painting. I haven't been able to find any photographs of the rear to like for rear lights, that sort of thing. The searchlights and the front lights will get a quick silver once I've finished with the next stage, which is a wash. And what I'm going to use is Citadel's Carrack Stone, and all I'm going to do is take a little bit and I'm going to water it down a fair amount. A bit more than that. Yeah, about that consistency there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the wheels, and I'm just literally going to give them a wash like so. And then as this dries, it should pool around rivets, nuts, bolts, and so on and so forth. And really I'm only going to sort of like do this bottom half of the hull. This is the area that I want to do. So the tracks will also get a quick dab of this. And in between the drive wheels as well. And this will be the wash that I use for weathering. I'm not going to use any other wash now. We'll obviously put a black wash on for shading, but now this is the only weathering wash that I'm going to use for this vehicle. And I'm just going to try and make sure that certain things perhaps get slightly more of a wash. Certain areas get more applied. I'm not going to go heavy straight from the start because you can always add more, and that's my preferred method. So put a wash on, and then if I want to add more to specific spots, I will do. So weathered I'm quite happy with that. It's been given a coat of matte varnish from the Army Painter Spray. Now, Tank Commander figure. So if you saw my previous video, these 3D printed figures that I got. So this guy has, all I've done is just glued him to the end of this foam stick, and sprayed him with Death Guard Green from Citadel. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give him a coat of this flat earth, which comes with the kit, and because I tried looking up, because this guy is 5RHA, was it? Where's the box gone? Fifth Royal Horse Artillery, 7th Armoured Division. So from what I could tell, these guys wore khaki coveralls or an olive green coverall, so I'm just going to paint him brown. And I will give him a wash, a black wash for shadow, and I might just very lightly dry brush with Zandri dust just to bring out some highlights on pockets, etc. So come back and we will give this guy a black wash for shadow, for recess shading, basically. Here we go. So we have our tank driver. He's been given a base coat of Mornfang Brown, and then I have given him a wash of Nuln Oil. Now I'm going to come in with Zandri dust and do a heavy-ish dry brush. I'm using a Citadel's STC dry brush small for this, and I'm going to try and keep it fairly and the effect I'm going for is to hopefully leave the shading in the recesses, whilst adding colour to the mini, hopefully closer to a khaki colour. Like so. Hopefully you can see the, oops, there he is. Apologies for that. Hopefully you can see the detail there. Turn him over. But yeah, that's the effect that I was aiming for. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in now with a detail brush, and I'm going to use Krieg Khaki to paint his belt and holster, because for some reason, you know, I don't know why, for some reason, British Army webbing of World War II was that horrible, sickly, sandy yellow colour. I'm going to have to bring the lamp in with the magnifier so I can see what I'm doing. So, but the belt have the holster. Like that. Right, the next thing is painting this guy's face, and again I'm just going to come in with a with Bugman's Glow from Citadel. So that's that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait for the paint to dry before I do anything else. Beret. The beret and his headphones and the mic that he's holding, I'm just going to paint them black. So I've just got Abdon Black from Citadel. And yeah, I mean, what I will probably do is come in and the headphones I might paint Corvus black. Once the flat black here that I'm using, the Abaddon black, has dried. Right, so it's my tank commander figure, and he is going to go into the tank like so, and that is how far I'm going to take it, I think. I do have the other one that I did. There are some issues here, mainly with the decals, because I tried, because some people suggest using the microsol and microset to wet the decal first, and I tried that and I found that it became too, what's the word I'm looking for, flexible, and as such that then created an issue with it stretching. So yeah, I just went back to putting the decals on with water, letting them dry, you know, coating them with the microsol and the microset once they were on the vehicle. Or essentially putting some microsol and microset, some microset onto the place where I'm putting the decal, and then letting it dry, and you know, taking it from there. But yeah, so I've done two. and I've got a bit heavy on the weathering on this one, whereas it's not so heavy on this one, but I quite like both of them. And yeah, let's get these up on the turntable and do the turntable reveal.